99% of people trap in this trick. Firstly, tell me that what will you play in this position? You are from white side, you will take the knight. So, let's see how this position can comes to our games. Opponent play d4 give a pawn, he takes our pawn, then develop your bishop, he develop his knight, then give him a free pawn. And now if he takes the pawn, give him a free knight. Now opponent thinks that how stupid black is because he is giving a free knight, and he takes the knight. But now eventually, we take the f2 pawn by our bishop. Now the king cannot go d2 because our queen is attacking. So he takes the bishop. And now we easily take his queen, and after winning a queen, we can easily win this game.
This is how you can win with your opponent in King Indian defense. We are from black side, so let's start the trick. d4. This is the most popular move after e4 in online games. At most people play this move in their games. Then we have to play knight f6 if you wanted to use this trick in your game. This opening is known as King Indian defense, and now opponent play pawn to c4 for to take more advantage in the center, and now you will sacrifice your pawn by playing e5, and in this position white captured the pawn by his d4 pawn, and attack comes to the knight, and now we played knight g4, and now opponent's e5 pawn is attacked by our knight, and now white have 4 moves to defend his pawn. First, what if white play bishop to f4? The bishop to f4 is a good move. After playing this move, we need to move our knight to c6, putting double attack on his pawn. As soon as he defends his pawn with his knight, we'll give him a check. He can save himself from check in 2 ways, either by moving his knight to d2 or c3. If he moves his knight to c3, we'll capture his knight with our bishop, and as soon as he recaptures, his position will weaken because he'll have 2 pawns on c5, which is bad for him. So, in this position, he won't move his knight to c3 and instead will move it to d2. Knight to d2 is a good move for him. After this, we'll play queen to e7. In this position, many opponents play a 3 because if we don't capture his knight, our bishop will be trapped. But here, we shouldn't move our bishop back or capture his knight with our bishop. Instead, we'll capture his e5 pawn with our g knight. The opponent will see that our bishop is free and will capture it, and as soon as he does, we'll give a shock to him in next move by doing checkmate with knight to d3. Second, what if white play pawn to f4? Playing pawn to f4 is worst move because now we can play bishop to c5, attack comes to f2 square, e3 is only good move to defend knight to f2 fork, and now because of playing e3 bishop of c1 cannot come into the game, which is very bad for white. After playing bishop c5, some players can also play knight to h3. It is a mistake because knight are only good when they are in center, and in this position the c1 bishop cannot develop in center, and if opponent's bishop as well as knight both cannot able to come into center, so it is also very nice position for black. Third, white play queen to d4. Playing queen to d4 is also a bad move because now we will play d6 to defend our knight. White will take the pawn by his e5 pawn, knight will move on c6 and will give an attack on queen. Here 90% people attack on king by moving queen to e4. No, you have to avoid your check by moving bishop to c6. Now if your opponent take the pawn of c7, then move your queen to d1 and it will be brilliant queen sacrifice. In this position ing cannot move anywhere but have to take the queen. After he take our queen, we have to take his pawn of f2. Now our knight is passing triple attack as he save his king by moving it on e1. We have to take his queen. Now in this position most of our pieces are in center and even king can do castle, while on other side opponent don't have any piece on center and can't even castle. Now this position is very easy to win. Fourth, what if white play knight to f3? Playing knight to f3 is also not a nice move because in this position we will play bishop to c5 and now opponent have to play e3 because his f2 pawn is attacked by our knight and bishop, and if we take the pawn of f2 by our knight then our knight will give attack to queen as well as rook, so he have to play e3. Because of playing e3 the bishop can't comes to the center easily, which is very good for black. If this trick helps you to trap your